All right, first and foremost, I want to give all praises, honor, and great glory to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Rakah, Badash. Double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone that rule well, and salutations to the elect pushing His truth to the four corners of the earth in truth and in sincerity. All right, in this particular video, I want to touch on climate change once again and what they're doing in New York. All right. Now, if you haven't looked at my previous video, go watch it. I urge you, Akim, go watch the last video I made, and I'm talking about climate change. I get a few definitions, and I basically break climate change down. Now, what's the end goal to climate change? What are they really saying when they're talking about climate change? In a nutshell, they want to chop the population down by billions, man. You know, it brings you back to that talk that Bill Gates of hell, as they call him, Bill Gates had on TED. It was a TED talk he had, and brothers like to play it, but he was giving an equation out. He was talking about carbon emissions and global warming and basically climate change, and he was talking about he gave an equation out, and a part of that equation was P. P was a part of that, and that stood for people or the population. And he said, well, one of these things, amongst other parts of the equation, he said one of these things got to get down to nearly zero. And I believe he highlighted P, people or the population, and the crowd started laughing. And that's when he went on to say the famous thing of, if he do real good on snake venom, you know, that bite, you know what I mean? If you know, if that jump shot, then he can decrease the population by 10 to 15%. All right. During that same TED talk, he gave the equation on carbon emissions and talked about what's the real goal of this climate change shit is, and that's to do what? To chop the population down. All right. So I want to get into what they're doing right now in the name of climate change. All right. And what they're doing right now in New York is they have a climate change fee, and they're trying to basically say, they're saying it like this though. It's congestion, too much congestion in New York. So they're going to have cars, trucks, motorcycles, depending on what it is, you know, what vehicle. All vehicles are going to have to pay a fee, but depending on what vehicle it is, it pays a different fee. But nonetheless, you're going to have to pay a fee, whether, you know, you're in an Uber ride or whatever. All vehicles must pay, you know, per day. And cars, I believe, is like $17 a day. This is people who want to get anywhere. And nobody's exempt. You see that? That's what they're doing right now in the name of climate change. And somebody's about to raise the point to this woman. All right. They're saying, won't it be a financial burden for the people, you know, low income people? This is what the reporter's going to say. And watch what she says. You know, in a nutshell, she's going to say it won't be a financial burden to you. We really got the number down like this. And you know what? Climate change is more important than somebody paying this, and that. So in the name of climate change, they're really turning up the heat right now. And I want to also talk about the upcoming water shortage. Climate change also, this is what they're pushing, the shortage of water. I'm going to get a few scriptures. I'm on a plantation right now, so since I'm on plantation time, I can't really get intimate right now, but they're also talking about the shortage of water, all right, due to climate change. If you looked at my other video, they said, well, look at my other video. As a matter of fact, let me see something. Salaki on that, right here. Climate change, water shortage. This is what I put into the Google search engine. And it says only 0.5% of water on Earth is usable and available fresh water, and climate change is dangerously affecting that supply. If you looked at my previous video, what is the main contributor, the most contributing factor, what's aiding the most in the climate change? People. This is what they say. Basically, you know, when you look up climate change, they're making it seem like it's like 90% just people, or almost like 99% people. They really want to get down people or the population. So anyway, it says, and climate change is dangerously affecting that supply. So if we want more water, if we want to save the water supply, we got to get rid of more people, right? Over the past 20 years, terrestrial water shortage includes soil moisture, snow, and ice, has dropped at a rate of 1 centimeter per year with major ramifications for water security. All right. And I also went down and tapped a few things. It says, how does climate change affect water shortage? So this is basically going to make it simple. And in a nutshell, I was going to say climate change stops it from raining certain places. You know what I'm saying? So, hey, there's less water that we have to put it back into the system to treat and put back inside of the system so people can drink. So it's less water, which will be a water shortage. This is what they're saying. It says climate change is already affecting water access for people around the world, causing more severe droughts and floods. Increasing global temperatures are one of the main contributors to this problem. Climate change impacts the water cycle by influencing when, where, and how much precipitation falls. You see that? Salaki, I was a little distracted. You know, I'm out here. I gotta keep my head on a swivel. All right, as you can see, it's 4:44. See, that's a spirit. That's mercy. Lord willing, hey, we receive mercy in these times. You know, those, us brothers that's laboring, in this thing. But anyway, let's hop right inside of this video. And this is her response. This is her response to being asked, wouldn't this be a financial burden to, the lower income, and also, alluding to the ridiculousness of this whole thing anyway. Let's listen.
You're one of the fortunate few whose title and salary means that the congestion pricing toll won't be a financial burden for you. But there are surely going to be countless number of families who are making well below six figures who are trying to figure out how they're going to fit this into their monthly budget. What can you say to them? And is there anything that can be done on the state level to offset this new financial cost?
As you know, congestion pricing is New York state law. It was adopted back in 2019. So this must go forward under state law. And what I found was when they're talking about numbers like $23 a visit, regardless of how many visits a day, I knew that would have a detrimental impact on families. So I wanted that number lower. That number released today is that be $15 per trip. So that's lower. But also, I also have to protect these families and their health and make sure there's clean air, not just for them today, but for the next generation. And also, we are blessed in this area to have world-class public transportation. And our buses can go faster when there's fewer cars on the streets. Our ambulance can get places sooner to save lives. Our firefighters can get to a burning building faster when there's not the congestion that is now paralyzing and clogging our streets. So we are going to be global leaders in this front. A few other places have tried it. I believe will be a model for the nation without creating an undue financial burden because we have public transportation at a very affordable cost for those families that are in need. We also have hours of operation where the cost will decline dramatically after 9 o'clock at night for someone who's having to work at a hospital and drive themselves home at the end of their shift, all the way till 5 in the morning, down to about $3.75. But we also have to do is make sure our air is clean, our transit is invested in. This helps me get the Interborough Express, which will help people who work in the outer boroughs who don't come into Manhattan. Also help with the 2nd Avenue subway, opening up transit deserts in Harlem and the Bronx, so people can have access through public transportation to the best paying jobs that we have in the region right here in Manhattan. So I know there's going to be an impact, but we have to also deal with the larger picture, protecting and cleaning up our environment, protecting the quality of air, protecting mobility on our streets, and also protecting our financial stability of the MTA, because without that, it all collapses.
Quick follow, what do you say to the drivers who have no choice but to drive in, for whom mass transit is not an option?
That's why we are glad we could reduce it down to 1 trip a day. Original plans were every time you go in and out, you could end up having to pay upwards of $23. Those numbers would have been significantly higher. The numbers came down. It's only 1 trip a day. And truly to park in this city as well is already expensive. already very expensive to park here. So I know people try very hard to go to a park and ride, try to find the alternatives to take the incredible system we have all the way from the far-reaching suburbs of Long Island and the Hudson Valley, Westchester, as well as the subway system that literally is almost on every corner. There's accessibility. So we have a gift that other areas do not have. This would not work in many other parts of the country. We're going to do it here. We're going to do it successfully, and we'll have the resources to make sure we keep investing in that lifeline of our region.
All right.
Well, there you have it. So every time you hear them talk about climate change or say, well, it's a congestion, worded kind of strange, talk about a congestion pricing plan. It's really go back to climate change, all right? This is what she said. This is what she broke down. You saw it with your own eyes and heard it with your own ears. And climate change goes back to what? Killing the population. Do your research on that. With climate change, their agenda. What does climate change think? Right, as a matter of fact. Now let's get in to, the pricing and all that. This is on the news. This is 2 days ago.
Inner self is purged.
Yes, it is.
Salaki on that.
Live and cable-free with unlimited DVR space included and no hidden fees or long-term contracts. Everything live TV should be. YouTube TV. Try it free.
The controversial congestion pricing plan took a big step forward today. The MTA board voting to approve charging drivers to enter Manhattan below 60th Street. It'll be $15 for most cars. Truckers will pay even more. And as CBS 2's Naveen Dhaliwal reports, people are already worried about what it means for parking.
As congestion pricing becomes closer to a reality,
the mad scramble trying to find street parking, and I think it's already kind of a pretty stressful experience here locally here in Upper West Side.
those living on the Upper West Side concerned about traffic and lack of parking on their streets.
There's certainly a risk that it becomes more congested, Yeah, as people parking so they don't have to then take their vehicle over the threshold.
Just don't see the reasoning behind it. Everything already is super high right now with inflation.
Officials say companies are supporting congestion pricing because of the high cost of congested roads to their bottom line.
Excess traffic congestion is costing the New York City region over $20 billion a year.
There are concerns commuters will try to get creative to find ways to dodge the tolls, including altering or hiding their license plates. MTA head Jano Lieber says they're ready to deal with toll evaders.
We're going to go after it hard and make sure that people are not getting away with that, because the credibility of the whole effort is at stake.
Despite the vote, some MTA board members asked for exemptions for people going to medical appointments, school buses, and to help the yellow cab industry.
I know there's been a lot of discussion about exemptions, and I think those should be extremely limited because the rest of us just end up having to pay for it.
Public hearings are expected to take place at the end of February and early March, and officials are hoping to start the program by the spring, but it's being held up by 2 lawsuits filed by officials in New Jersey.
There you have it. You see it. They're making their move. All right? They're making their move. And that cold word, climate change. And what they want to do is kill the population with that, when you get into it. Let's get Joe. Mr. Lockie, I'm just a little distracted. I got to keep my head on a swivel when I'm out here, So let me go. Job 5 and 12. Yeah, I'm at work, but when I'm out here, I got to keep my head on a swivel. So Salakia, for my distraction. But, right, this is Job 5 and 12, and we read, He disappointed the devices of the crafty so that their hands cannot perform their enterprise. Their enterprise is the New World Order, the NWO. You can look on the back of your dollar bill, and it's even on there. It says Novos Ordo Seclorum, which is New World Order, or New Order of the Ages. New Order of the Ages, which translates to New World Order. And above that it says Anu Up Coeptis, which means crown with success. So what's crown with success? The New World Order. All right, so they've been planning this for a very long time, and this is just a part of their agenda, this whole climate change thing. Climate change thing is you know, it's a hoax. You know what I'm saying? So, hey, there you go. So I hope it was edifying. I'm on plantation time, so I'm going to end this. So I hope it was edifying. And with that, I'm going to say shalom.